Ooh, I got an idea. Maybe Jay and Silent Bob could be characters.
That is the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here as always. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me and Pete to talk Clerks 3 spoilers. I did already post my spoiler-free review. You can check that out if you want, but I just want to sort of kind of give my expanded thoughts on Clerks 3 and talk about some of the bigger points that I couldn't talk about in a spoiler-free review. Like I said in my first review, I am a huge fan of Kevin Smith. I don't love all of his movies. Some of his later movies I didn't care for as much. Yoga Hosers was fine. I didn't hate it like a lot of people did, but I didn't love it either. Jay and Silent Bob reboot was a fairly big misstep in my eyes.
That old-ass star-studded piece of shit.
There's a lot of cringe, a lot of unfunny and forced references.
I'll allow it. That movie did suck balls and asshole.
That I was really afraid was going to be the case with Clerks 3, and although in Clerks 3 we do get a lot of these view askew references, Clerks 3 feels so much more authentic and seems to be coming from much more of an original place. Kevin Smith mentioned the jail sequence in Clerks 2, which is kind of one of the more standout dramatic moments, and that scene in particular kind of informs the tone that you'll get with Clerks 3. This is a very somber film. It's a very funny film in a lot of ways, but this film leads into the most drama I've ever seen in a Kevin Smith movie since probably Chasing Amy or Jersey Girl or something like that. It's really heavy with the drama, and it's a perfect send-off to these characters. One of the major plot points of this movie is you find out that Rosario Dawson's character Becky and his child died between the events of Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, which is an incredibly sad thing. That's the kind of set-off point for a lot of the frustrations that Dante has with Randall after his heart attack. So much of this movie mirrors Kevin Smith's experiences in real life. Kevin Smith went through a horrific heart attack, almost died, and that exact plot line folds out in Clerks 3.
Described being taken to a Glendale hospital, suffering from complete blockage of an artery commonly known as the Widowmaker. He posted, "If I hadn't canceled the second show to go to the hospital, the doc said I would have died."
Beginning of the movie, during a heated argument or a heated conversation with Elias, the funniest character in Clerks 3, in my opinion, we'll get to that in a second. During a heated exchange with him, he has a heart attack and almost dies. A funny sequence that kind of mirrors what happened in Kevin Smith's real life about him being on the hospital bed and nearly dying because he didn't want to take his pants off because his dick is so small. So he says that whole scene plays out. That was one of the funnier sequences in the movie. He didn't want the doctor to see his little dick. That was really funny.
In the emergency room, dying, literally dying. And this was my biggest concern. Guy comes in, he goes, "I'm gonna have to shave your groin. You take your shirts off, I have to shave your groin." I said, "For what?" He goes, "They go up through your groin to get into your heart." My biggest fear in life, like death, number one. Number two, people seeing my dick. Like that's it, terrified of that. Oh my God, I've gone on my way my whole life to not let my fucking dick be seen and shit. Never wanted to go to a hospital or a doctor for that very reason.
When your life is in danger, I've never been in that situation, but when your life is in danger, nobody gives a fuck about your fucking ego
vanity.
And shit, like your vanity.
But once the heart attack happens, that's when the movie really kicks into gear. I gotta admit, aside from the opening sequence, which is the classic Dante pulling up to the store, the savages with the gums in the lock and all that stuff, walking into the store, after all that beginning sequence happens, there is quite a lull, and I wish the movie would have gotten to the filmmaking aspect of the movie, because that's when the movie really kicks off. Basically what this is you have Randall essentially the proxy of Kevin Smith in his early days at the Quick Stop. After Randall has his heart attack, he decides that he hasn't done enough with his life again, and he wants to film a movie. So they start talking about all the crazy things that have happened working at the store and the movie's restaurant in the previous films. They talk about basically everything that happened in Clerks 1. So you see them shooting all of the scenes from Clerks 1.
It's about him working here.
Wow, meta. I've never seen a whole movie set in a convenience store before.
Right?
That gives way for all of the characters from the first Clerks movie to come in. I'm talking everybody. Marilyn Gigliotti, the girlfriend. Pete Fly. It's the Chuli's gum representative guy comes back, and they shoot a scene with him. Scott Mosier, the snowball guy, he comes in and does his little sequence.
That's beautiful, man.
They show them shooting the cat shit scene on the counter. All of those classic scenes are recreated. One of the most amazing recreations that I kind of got a little misty-eyed with was them setting up the camera and filming the Jay and Silent Bob black and white dance sequence from the beginning of the film. film. And if you know a lot of lore, because like I said in my spoiler-free review, this movie is really for the hardcore fans who have watched all the special features, who know all behind the scenes stuff, because they even talk about the real Jay's horrible stage fright that he had while filming.
The scene we're about to do where Jay refuses to dance literally happened. I did not take any creative liberties with this except change names. Jay was shy and refused to dance in front of what he called all those people, and it was literally just Scott Mosier and David Klein. So he insisted that they go inside RST Video so that we could do the scene. So tonight, we not only replicate the moment in the movie itself, which I'll be honest with you, when the movie came out years ago in 1994, there were a lot of people who would say, my favorite moment in that movie is when you and Jay dance in the dark. And that really insulted the writer who wrote all that dialogue. So we're honoring that moment in the movie, but even bigger than that, in a meta way, we're stepping back and recreating the moment when Jason Mewes was too shy to dance in front of two people. Give it up for Jason Mewes.
And that scene alone is like 5 minutes. So that's the kind of thing where it's like only the fans are really going to appreciate these long drawn out scenes, basically recreating behind the scenes moments from the first Clerks film. It's crazy with the meta. It really is. One of the highlights of the movie for me is the return of Elias, the funniest character in Clerks 2 in my opinion. And again, he steals the show in this movie as well.
Duh.
Right before Randall has his heart attack, they're having this heated exchange and Elias smites him. He wants the Lord to strike Randall dead for the blasphemous shit that he's saying. And after Randall does have the heart attack, he thinks that he needs to turn his back on God now because God smited his friend who he loves. And he decides to turn to Satan. So every time they show Elias, now that he's been betrayed by Jesus, he now wants to be a Satanist. So every time he enters the frame, he's in another gothed up, ridiculous makeup and outfit. At one point, he looks like Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He does all these insane looks, and every time he pops up on screen, he looks ridiculous, and it's just hilarious. He kind of steals the show. Jay and Silent Bob aren't as big a part of this movie as the previous films. Not even the funniest part of this film. There is a great scene recreating the scene where Silent Bob tells the line about bringing lasagna to work. Apparently, Jay just could not get that line about most girls don't bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you. I guess Jay just could not deliver that line, so that's the only line that Bob says in that movie, sort of out of necessity, because Jay just could not spit the words out. This whole movie is basically just a love letter to the fans, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It was such a full circle moment, but I guess one of the biggest shocking moments in the movie is Dante having a heart attack and dying at the end of the film. The passing of Randall was very, very sad. You already had these moments with it also gives way for some of the best performances that Kevin Smith has ever got out of his actors. Dante has some great, really dramatic sequences, although his performance is a little one dynamic as he just shouts all of his lines. I think some of his big monologues could have been a little bit more impactful if he had took some of the lines with a quieter approach, because he just basically shouts for like 5 minutes and it gets a little old. I wish his performance was a little more dynamic. But overall, he does give a great performance, especially in the performances where he gets to talk to Becky. There's scenes when he goes and visits Becky or sees Becky in these sort of, as if she was still alive, her ghost kind of comes in and has these conversations with him. And they're incredibly, incredibly emotional. I found myself being misty-eyed many, many times during this movie, and I almost lost it with just tears coming down as he got to have conversations with Becky, his dead baby mama. It was very, very sad and very poignant, but at the end of the movie, after he passes away, the last shot you see of Dante is him sort of walking into the light with Becky. So in the end, they got to be together in, heaven, I guess. So that was a really nice moment, but it was a really great send-off to the Clerks series, to these characters, and a very proper send-off. Overall, I really, really enjoyed Clerks 3. It's for the fans. It's some of the best work that Kevin Smith has done in years, probably since Tusk. I loved Tusk. But I didn't really love Yoga Hosers, and I didn't love Jay and Silent Bob reboot, so this was a welcome return to the stuff that I love from Kevin Smith. It does have his shortcomings. There's a lot of jokes that I think could have been edited out, but he made this movie for himself, and he was able to do it, so more power to him. So this movie will hit you in the feels. If you are a diehard Kevin Smith fan and a Clerks fan, this movie is for you. People who have never seen a Kevin Smith movie, or maybe have only seen, Clerks 2 back in the day, or saw Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back 20 years ago, you might not care for this movie. I don't know if it works as a standalone comedy on its own, but if you're a fan of the View Askew universe and Kevin Smith and everything that guy does, this movie is for you. And I think you'll really get a lot out of it. It's a fantastic love letter to the View Askew universe and to the fans. So that's enough of my rambling. I didn't take any notes really. I just kind of spitballed this entire conversation. I hope that did all right. I want to start doing the spoiler-free and spoiler reviews. I may structure them a little bit different. I don't know really. I had zero idea what I was doing going into this review, so it's a little random. So I apologize for that. Maybe with my spoiler and spoiler-free reviews, I'll try to structure them a little bit better. This is kind of a chaotic video, but whatever. Either way, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. You can check us out on our Rad Pack, my podcast group, the Rad Pack. We're taking over the S'mores Indoors channel next week. So after those, S'mores Indoors is interviewing me, Mel, and Born to be Rad, my Rad Pack colleagues, on 3 separate episodes that'll drop all next week. So I'll link those below after they've been released. When we have 2 Rad Pack episodes coming up in October. I just did the We Love Horror podcast, and that's going to be dropping this weekend. We're talking about our 5 best and worst horror remakes. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on Instagram. That's where you'll find out about all this good stuff. But lots of stuff going on in the world of The Dead Couch, my other channel, me doing podcast, and Rad Pack. I'm putting out a ton of content, guys. So if you're a fan of the channel, like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit. But I think we're done here, guys. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself, and I will see you in the next one. And Pete will see you in the next one. Boop. Bye.
Tell us what to do.
We're taking over.
Tell us what to do.
We taking over, brother.
Think better.
Sometimes bad things happen. We're taking over. S'mores Indoors, you're next!